For tonight's homework, we are going to be working on the using percent equations worksheet, numbers 1 through 8. At the top, they kind of break it down how to do each one. So we're going to go through several of these together, and then you guys will be on your own to do the rest. Okay, so let's look at number 1. It says, what percent is 24 of 96? Okay, so we have to write it as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. Okay, so again, percent of percent is 24 of 96. Okay. Okay, so the first part is the easiest part, is the fraction. They want to know what the percent is. 24 of 96. So all I do to write that as a fraction is to write it exactly how it's written. So the fraction is going to be 24 96. Okay? So that's the first part, and this is the easiest part of the three. Writing it as a fraction. Okay? So we just write it exactly how it's written, 24 of 96, 24 96. So that's the fraction part. Now, this is a step that we're going to have to do some work, is when we change that fraction to a decimal. So the fraction is 24 96, okay? And we are going to have to divide to get our decimal. Okay, so remember, when we divide, this number kind of falls here. That's also how I remember it, so it's going to fall inside. So I write my problem out like this. 24, I put my decimal in. I'll put 2 zeros. Again, I'm immediately, as soon as I do this, I'm going to bring that decimal up so I don't forget it in my answer. So even before I start, bring that decimal straight up. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, how many times can 96 go into, I know it can't go into 2. I know 96 can't go into 24. Okay? But 96 can go into 240. Okay? So that's my first step. So what I need to do is just guess and check using my multiplication. So I will start with 2. So if I do 96 times 2, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19, I'm at 192. Okay, so I'll go one more just to be sure. 96 times 3, 6 times 3 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28, and I know that is too large, because I can't go over 240, so I know 96 can go into 240 2 times. 2 times 96 is 192. Okay, so when I subtract, borrow from the 4, that becomes a 3. 10 minus 2 is 8. I can't take 9 from 3, so I borrow from the 2. The 3 becomes a 13. 9 take away 9 from 13 is 4. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So my next step is to bring down my 0. So I have to ask myself, how many times can 96 go into 480? Okay, so I did 96 times 3 is 288. So I'm going to jump to, I'm going to go to 5, see what that gives me. 96 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 3 is 48. And that lands me right on that number. So I know 96 can go into 480 5 times. 5 times 96 is 480. And I am finished. So my decimal is 25 hundredths. Okay? Now again, remember, so we have our fraction, which is here. We have our decimal. Now remember, we need to find the percent. And the percent's very easy once we find the decimal. All I'm doing is going 2 places to my right, 1, 2, and I put the percent sign in. So my percent is 25%. Okay, so I went 1, 2, percent sign. And that gives me 25%. Okay, so fraction, 2496, decimal, 25 hundredths, percent, 25%. Okay, so that's number 1. Let's do one more together. Number 2. We have 117 of 160. What percent is 117 of 260? Okay, so again, writing the fraction, I'm just going to write it exactly how it's written. 117, 260. So that's the fraction answer. Okay, so now again, I'm going to make a division problem. Remember, the 117 falls inside. So it will look like this. put my decimal and 2 zeros. Again, I'm going to bring my decimal straight up in my answer. Okay? So, first thing I'm going to do, 260. It can't go into 1. Know that. Can't go into 11. I know that. 260 cannot go into 117. But I know it can go into 1,170. So again, I'm going to start again by guessing and checking. I'll start with 3, just to see what that gives me. 260 times 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay, so I'll do the next step. 260 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. Carry my 2. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay? And then I'll go, well, again, I'm getting for 1,170. That gives me 1,040. So I know that's going to be my answer. So if I do go 5, I'll do it just over here just so you can see it. 260 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3 is 13. And that would be too large. So I'm going with 4 here. 4 times 260 is 1,040. And I would subtract. I'm going to go ahead and erase this over here. Zero minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 0. Or is 1, excuse me, and 1 minus 1 is 0. I'm going to bring down my 0. And again, I just erased it, but 260 times 5 was exactly 1,300. That was the answer I did over here. I just erased it so it wouldn't get in the way of this problem. So I know that is 5. 5 times 260 is 1,300. And that gives me 0. Okay, so my decimal is 45 hundredths. Now, if I turn that into a percent, I'm going to my decimal, going 2 places. 1, 2, put my percent sign. So my percent will be 45%. Okay? So fraction, decimal, percent. Now the key is, guys, when you're doing this, is when you start getting into these big numbers, how many times can 260 go into 1,170, you have to guess and check. So you have to do the multiplication part of this. You have to. There's no other way to do it. So just guess and check. Keep that off to the side because you'll probably end up referring back to that eventually. Like in this problem, I knew over here I'd already hit 1,300. So just keep that on the side. Don't erase or cross it out or anything. Keep all your work over there because you're going to refer back to it. Okay, so that's what you got to do tonight. We did 1 and 2 together, so you need to do 3 through 8 at 6 problems. But again, follow the steps, fractions, just write it exactly how it's written. To find the decimal, you're going to divide. Remember the top number, the way I always remember, it just kind of falls over. And it goes on the inside. And then once you get the decimal, 2 places over, and that becomes your percent. Alright? That is tonight's homework.